Hi, everybody, and welcome to KindSoup Saturday. I'm Deb. We are going to cook the Pioneer Woman's Chicken Tortilla Soup today. Show me your hands if you know the Pioneer Woman. Anybody familiar with her? She's great, right? Do you like her? Yeah, she's always good. So you're in luck, because if it was Deb Lang's recipe, it wouldn't be foolproof. But the Pioneer Woman's recipe is fantastic. Anyway, we cook together every Saturday from 5 to 6. We cook enough so that we can feed ourselves and share with others. Sometimes that's through people you know, and sometimes you can donate some of your soups to different food assistance providers. We have just enlarged the food assistance providers in Montgomery County that we're supporting. So if you ever are looking for where to donate your soups, go to our KindSoup page on the website, and you'll see 5 or 6 now locations listed and different times and days when you can drop off there. And they'll go ahead and send your soups on to families who they're supporting who have become food insecure as a result of the pandemic. So we're gonna have a lot of fun today and do a lot of good. In the last month alone, we all have donated over 500 quarts of soup. So over 2,000 bowls of soup for people who, I know, it's really adding up quickly, and it's so much fun. So I'm so glad you're joining us. I see a lot of people who met us for the first time, either on Monday or last Saturday, and we're just really happy that you're here. All right. We're going to ask everyone to stay muted until you want to talk, but feel free when you do want to talk to just hold down your space bar or unmute and then mute back up. And the reason for that is just so that your background noises aren't taking over the sound for other people. Sound good? All right. So the recipe suggested that you start by prepping your chicken. I know not everybody has. But you can do this a million different ways. The way the recipe says is to put your chicken breasts out, sprinkle a little bit of the spice mix that you've made, which is cumin, chili powder, garlic powder, and maybe some salt. And sprinkle that on with some olive oil on both sides of your chicken breasts, and then to go ahead and cook them in a 375-degree oven for about 20-25 minutes. So if that's done, you can go ahead on to the next part, which is where I am now. And that is heating a little bit of olive oil in your pot over medium-high heat, and add chopped onions, red pepper, green pepper, minced garlic, and just let that start to cook till your kitchen starts smelling fabulously. How was everybody's week? Everybody feeling pretty good today? Good. I'm feeling pretty good.
How about very, very grateful, effective January 20th?
Who said that? Stephanie?
It was Liz.
Oh, hi, Liz. Oh, good. Yep.
Yeah, but I agree. Absolutely. Very exciting.
Did you all get to watch the young poet at the inauguration?
It was
amazing. She was amazing.
Amazing. Speechless.
Only 22 years old.
Can you imagine?
Yeah.
You know, I started following her on Instagram, maybe a couple of hours after she spoke. She had quite a few, like 200,000 followers. Now it's 2.7 million and rising. I mean, the entire world knows about her now, so.
I heard that she is coming, she's going to be speaking to Montgomery College in the near future. And somebody told me that you can, it's some kind of speaker series, and she's going to be a speaker, and you can, you know, anybody can join it for free if you can figure out how to get on it, if anyone's interested.
We are interested, who is that, Kelly?
Yes.
Kelly, when you find the link, will you share it with us?
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you.
I think I have the link. I'm going to look for it right now. Lainey said.
Oh, Lainey, how are you?
Hi. A friend of mine works at that college, and she sent it to me.
Oh.
I'm going to send the link. Just give me a few minutes.
You got it. Lainey has been a wealth of information since she joined us a month ago. It's been great.
Deb?
Yep.
2 cups of diced onions. Is that like 2 onions?
Mine was 3.
A minute.
So it depends on the size.
I have these big purple onions, and for me that was less than 1 onion.
Wow.
Last week I put in 6 of those big purple onions in the recipe, and it was basically an onion soup.
Which, you know, wasn't the recipe, but it's good.
It wasn't bad, but yeah.
I got a question about the ingredient list. Hi, this is Ann, and this is my first time, so this is great. Thank you.
Welcome, Ann.
I don't know what, I looked all over the place for rotel, tomato, and chili.
Okay, it's just a brand name because this came off of somebody's website, cooking website. So all you need to do is use chopped onions and a small can of chopped chilies. And that would work, like, chop your own chilies. It's just chopped tomatoes with.
Yeah, but I didn't get that. I didn't get the can. Thank you for holding it up. But so that's what I wanted to know. What do I use instead? I assumed it was like diced tomatoes or canned tomatoes and like you said, chilies.
Yeah, I'll show you what you can.
Okay, and I have to make it up, you know, because I couldn't find it anywhere.
And Deb, I had fresh jalapenos that I wanted to use, so I didn't buy that. How much would you, I put like half of 1 so far.
And no seeds, right?
And no seeds. Would you put more than that?
I mean, I like, Stephanie, for yourself, but be careful because you're going to share this with others. So when I made this recipe first a few months ago, I made it really spicy and it was delicious. But for practice last week, when I made this to be ready for you all, I made it without jalapenos, and it really tones down the end. And you can just add to your bowl that you eat the extra jalapenos. I wouldn't start with more than a half a jalapeno.
So if we're making this canned tomato, because you said 10 ounces, it's mostly tomato then, and some chopped peppers, green peppers. Is that right?
Yeah, I would get 2 of these.
Or chopped chilies.
Okay, guys, we're on.
These size cans of chopped tomatoes and 1 of these small size cans of chopped chilies.
Okay, great.
But whatever you do is going to be delicious. You know, you just don't want it to be too
chili. Basically, chilies to taste, kind of.
Yeah.
And I wasn't quite sure what was meant. It said chili powder and it said chili pepper. And I have like chili seasoning, but I decided to go with the word pepper. So I put in like crushed pepper, like crushed red pepper. But I thought that might be too spicy, so I put in half as much.
Good idea. Don't put any more in, Stephanie. Stephanie, I got to hold you back. Yeah, I think that there is a chili powder that is different.
I'm not sure what that means because I have about 5 different kinds of chili-ish powder and things.
Can you see this? It's called Mexican chili powder. And I just actually filled it up with, I think they call it Fiesta chili powder over at the co-op. So yeah, there is something called chili powder.
I'm not sure if that differs from Texas chili powder or not, but
that sounds fine. But I think using red pepper flakes is going to be much hotter.
sure, but I think chili powder has like cumin in it.
Ah. Where's Dominique? She knows everything. You're muted, Dominique.
I think any of those can work. I mean, so chili powder, there's just what you get that's on the shelf, the McCormick's, and then there's different kinds, and I think all of them will be good and more or less the same.
Did you add the peppers yet?
Yes. Who is that, Lisa?
Yes.
Yes. Go ahead and add your onions, peppers, garlic. And then when it starts cooking and you can start to smell it, you can add the rest of your spice mix right to it and let it all make your kitchen smell fantastic. So Yusuf, I heard that you had a question you wanted everybody to be able to like think about and share while we're all cooking. Do you have a minute now to go ahead and ask it? Yusuf?
Yes.
I think your mom said that you had been thinking about a question you wanted everybody to think about and answer while they're all doing their cooking. Do you want to ask it now?
Yeah. What are you famous of? What dish are you very famous of cooking? Or that you like cooking? For me, it's French toast.
So you're asking everybody, what are they most well known for, and what do people request for them to make most often? And for you, it's French toast?
Yeah.
How do you make your French toast?
I add a little bit of milk and then a little. And then I put it on the pan.
For me, it's Texas chili. I have a Lady Bird Johnson recipe.
Ooh.
For me, it's paella.
Ooh.
For me, it's fish soup or fish stew.
What kind of fish soup or stew is it?
What kind?
Yeah, what do you mean?
Okay, so I add everything. Cod, if I have some halibut, that's a stretch, that's really pricey. And then of course the shrimp. Since I'm allergic to crab, I do not add crab, but mussels and what have I left out? Shrimp, clams, scallops, squid, lots of tomatoes, and then I add cilantro at the end.
Sounds wonderful. Very healthy.
It's easy and it's wonderful in the winter.
Huh. So Yusuf just gave me such a good idea. We should have some kind of a recipe swap. Is anybody able to like create a really low key, easy cookbook that we can just like share all of our recipes into and each have access to everybody else's?
Like a Google Doc or something.
May I ask some recipe questions while they're thinking about that answer?
Sure.
Two recipe questions. The first is on the beans. We're draining them. Are we also rinsing them?
I don't.
You do not. Okay, interesting. And then the other thing is 8 cups of hot water. That's
yes, yes. And it will work out. And I saw on her website also that someone said that it seemed when she added the 8 cups, it was going to be way too much water. But as you let it cook for the 40 minutes, it all comes together. So you know what? If you're nervous, do 6. You do a little bit less and see how it goes. But it does work out.
That's true. I can always look at it and add water later. Okay, yeah. Thanks.
Thank you. Lynn Gertzog is a birthday cake maker. She makes the flavor choice by the birthday person. Nice.
What?
It says, Lynn to everyone, birthday cakes, flavor choice by birthday person.
Oh, I think that's a different Lynn.
Different Lynn. Sorry, Lynn Gertzog.
Sorry.
Lynn Parsons.
So I did buy hominy. Should I add that when you add your chicken?
Yes. Well, you know, it's not going to impart as much flavor as the chicken. So I don't think that it matters when you add it. It would be my guess.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, and you think 2 or 4 cans? I have 4.
Yeah, I would go. Let's go for 3.
3.
See how it looks. Yeah.
All right. We're trying something out.
Yeah, that's cool. I'm actually known as a salad maker in my family because I chop up everything. And most people get kind of frustrated with all that, but I love it. I don't know. I sit and I chop, and then I put a million different things in my salads. So that's what I'm kind of known for, Yusuf.
Your salads are really good, Debbie.
Oh, thank you.
I'm also a salad maker, and I was thinking about Yusuf's question. This summer, I made something which I think has become my sort of specialty, maybe.
Your signature dish,
Yeah, it's a plum tort. Plum tort. And it comes out great. It's so easy to make, and there's a story behind it, which I love as a storyteller. So I had these plums from the market. These the Italian plums, I guess, these dark purple ones.
It smells really good.
And I just looked up plum tort, recipe, and this recipe came up. That seems easy, and I had all the ingredients, so I made it. It turned out delicious. Everybody loved it, and so I repeatedly made it all summer. And then I looked it up again, and it turns out there's a whole backstory to this plum tort recipe. It was published in the New York Times many, many, many years ago, like 40 plus years ago, by an aunt, somebody or the other. And people made it, they loved it. And so every year the New York Times republished this recipe until finally they decided, everybody's got this recipe, they know how to do this, we're gonna stop publishing. And then they received all these letters from people, and they said, no, this has become our tradition to see the recipe published in the New York Times and to make it in the late summer. And so they continued having to publish this plum tort recipe. It's really—
I've made it a couple times. It's delicious.
Oh, you have? Yeah.
Yeah, I made it for Rosh Hashanah in the fall, and then it was so good. I made it, I don't know, a couple of weeks later. It's delicious.
So good and so easy.
Somebody's got to put together a cookbook for us. These recipes all sound like ones that we all have to have.
So there's a website. If the recipe can be sent in a link or typed, there's a website called Copy Me That.
Oh.
And we could set up a KindWorks one. You can tag them and make it public, and it'd be kind of like an online cookbook.
Let's do that. Okay. Dominique, for those of you who've been on the calls for a while, Dominique mentioned Copy Me That a couple weeks ago, and I got it, and it's so easy and so much fun. I used to copy and paste and take out what I didn't and whatever. This, you just hit a button and you've got a recipe stored in a completely usable PDF format, I think, right, Dominique?
It kind of, I mean, it prints as a PDF, but it's online, and then you go into your recipes and you can go, huh, I have some whatever chard and I want to cook with it, and you put in chard and it'll pull up every recipe.
Oh, wow.
There with chard.
Which is really helpful because Cheryl always has extra chard on hand, right? Cheryl, Israel Block.
Yeah.
I wonder if you have to worry about copyright violation if it's if you put something there and make it public, like here's our Do Kind Works recipe library, you might just have to make sure you're not.
Oh no, it's just going to be for us. It's internal.
You can do it internal, but you can also make it public, and you can it attributes the recipe if it came from a website or something like that. It attributes it automatically, and you know, and you can also change it if you don't make it that way. You can put your notes in there, and yeah. So,
is it stuff that?
Go ahead.
Is it stuff that is already online? Or are you like?
Well, it's easy to copy stuff online, and there's ways to do it. Like if it's like in a Facebook post, if you highlight a word. Unfortunately, it used to work on your phone, and then when Apple changed something, that stopped. So I only use it on my laptop, and if I find something on my phone, I email it to myself, and then I put it and copy me that when I'm on my laptop. Hopefully, they'll fix that. But it's quite amazing. And then of course you can just drop in your own recipes as well. So, you know, recipes I make all the time that I want to share with people, I've dropped in there too.
Can you do photographs too?
Yep. Yep. So it's pretty cool. And I think they have a cookbook function, which I've never actually explored, but I think they do. Yeah, so it's really cool. I highly recommend it. And my signature recipe, I've got a couple. One is just spaghetti, but it's the way my dad made it when I was a kid, where he would cook it al dente, put in butter, Kraft Parmesan cheese, but let it really melt, and then have that with any sauce. So easy. And another one is a cheesecake recipe that 25 years ago I got from my husband's brother's girlfriend. And we wished that they would have stayed together. But we still have Eleanor's cheesecake recipe, and it's a light one. It has no egg yolks, and it's whipped egg white, so it's really light and moussey, and people who eat it just ask for it over and over.
Oh, this is killing me.
So we can put that in the...
Yeah. Dominique, will you set up a copy me that for KindWorks, and then I don't know, somehow we can put the link here?
Yeah, I think you can.
Sounds pretty cool.
I'm also really good at making lasagna, and the secret is to use cottage cheese.
Ah, that sounds delicious. All right, so has everybody gotten to the point where they have added their, have you already shredded your chicken? Yeah, have you already added your chicken to the onions and the spiced veggies? Everybody's busy at work. How's it going at the Ann Sweat House? Good?
Okay, I'm so far ahead. I've got all that stuff going. But when we're on the recipes, Paula Scheuer has a recipe. Someone mentioned the Rosh Hashanah cooking. Was it Yulin?
Yeah.
There's an apple cake recipe in the Holiday Kosher Baker that I got the ultimate compliment on. My son-in-law is the grandson of a baker. They had a bakery forever in Omaha, and he says that cake is as good as anything that ever came out of the bakery.
Wow.
Yeah, that's
that recipe.
Yeah, I'd add that and put her name.
Wonderful.
I have a foolproof brisket recipe from Joan Nathan cookbook that is, it's a Texas barbecued brisket as served to Lyndon Johnson. That's the title of it. And I get many requests for that every year.
So wait, you've got Lyndon Johnson's as served to Lyndon Johnson. Didn't Stephanie say something about Lyndon Johnson's chili?
I have the Ladybird Johnson, wife, LBJ's wife.
That's so funny. What was the daughter's name? We need her husband's favorite egg sandwich. I don't know. David Cox, right? Or no, that was Nixon. No, never mind. How about Joan Swartz? Do you know Lyndon and Ladybird's kids' names? You're muted.
Isn't it Linda Bird and Lucy Bird?
Oh, was it?
Maybe.
Maybe.
I don't have better names for them.
I don't know. We'll have a trivia night next Saturday evening to go with our cooking.
I don't think my pot is big enough.
Oh.
Yeah.
It is a lot of liquid.
I had a random zucchini in my fridge, so I chopped that up and threw it in here too.
My kind of cook, Lynn Gertzog.
Huh?
My kind of cook. I'm not a good rule follower, which makes it kind of shocking that I'm leading this today.
You know, as long as it's not baking, I don't think there are rules. Baking, you know, kind of needs to be precise, but soup.
Does anybody do the birthday parties? I'm new to finding this organization and I'm curious if anyone has been there and if you can tell me about it.
Is that Kim asking? You want to know about the birthday parties at the ladies' shelters?
Yes, please.
Yes. So we've been doing those for years. And what I would tell you pre-pandemic is a lot different than I'm going to be able to tell you now, unfortunately. Usually we show up, the people who want to participate sign up to bring one of the items that we need. We typically have a cake or cupcakes, ice cream, fresh fruit, and then some party things. So a gift card and maybe a homemade card for each of the ladies who's celebrating a birthday that month. And then a bunch of bingo prizes because we usually make a bingo night out of it. And some decorations and some, you know, party paper goods. And we go in and we have an evening event with them. And so all the people who signed up, there's about 5 or 6 of them to bring something. And me or sometimes Denise show up and we throw a party for the ladies and everybody gets a fun evening, and the ladies at the shelter who are having a birthday also get sung to, and they get their cake first and they get a little gift card as a present and a homemade birthday card. But all of that is now having to be dropped off. So we're still so thrilled that people step up to remember the ladies and to provide those things, but we can't go in. The staff has to throw the party for the ladies now. So we are told that they really appreciate it and that the parties happen and they have a lot of fun, but we can't be there, unfortunately.
So Deb,
yes.
How do we feel about collard greens? I seem to have leftover collard greens. I can't imagine. I had never cooked with them before and I still have collard greens. Can I put that in chili or is that gonna be too weird, do you think?
In chili?
Yeah, I mean, I've got not that much, but it's like.
I'm gonna defer to Dominique. I wouldn't put it in chili. Dominique? Marge is looking to use up some extra collard greens and she's thinking about putting it in chili.
Not this soup, but chili. I would. I throw greens.
Not this soup. Okay, that's fair enough. I don't know how much.
I was just thinking about that for the portion for myself. I have some beet greens, but I think you definitely wouldn't use that. But I'm a little nervous about using that. So I think I might just saute them up.
Yes, but I sort of feel that these collard greens are sort of left over from a prior soup, just as those beet greens.
Yeah, I would throw them in chili. I think, you know, they're not gonna taste bad. They're probably,
but not this.
It'll make it healthier. I would do it. I throw arugula in
So
soup.
do
I throw arugula on pasta sauce. I throw, you know, arugula in my, you know what was something interesting? I learned this years ago. Like if you're cooking pasta and you don't really feel like doing a side, but you want vegetables, throw a bag of spinach in for the last 20 seconds.
That.
Drain it, and then you're eating it along with your pasta sauce.
Oh, that's good.
We, I made chicken parm the other night, and instead of pasta, I made zoodles. Put it on top of zoodles.
Okay, but you're saying that I'm not putting these collard greens into this particular soup. Okay.
I wouldn't, because it's such a different thing. I mean, put it in for your personal portion, but I don't think I'd throw them in for all, because it won't seem like a tortilla soup.
Okay, I occasionally follow directions, and I will go to that. I have another question. I want to talk about, and I think everyone probably should pay attention to this. I want to talk about these tortilla strips. So I bought some tortillas. I don't know much about corn tortillas. I don't use them. And it says you should throw them in 5 minutes before serving. But if I put these strips into the ones I'm freezing, I'm wondering, A, how is it going to turn out? B, how thin should these strips be? Are we talking about a 1/4 inch, a 1/2 inch? You know, it doesn't matter, we don't care. Thoughts on that?
Yeah, good question. I've been wondering about the tortillas too.
So I think the tortillas, I made this last week again for the second time, and I hadn't done the tortilla strips the first time, and I did do them last week, and they really just kind of get absorbed into the soup. So I would cut them fairly small. I wouldn't worry about that. You won't be, the people who are going to have the soup after tonight are not going to have the strips that you might have when you eat yours for dinner tonight. I wouldn't worry about it. It's just going to get absorbed. It's going to thicken it up a little bit. It'll give it a little bit of a corn flavor, which is nice for this kind of soup. So go right ahead, cut maybe 1/4 to 1/2 inch strips and throw them in there, and don't look back.
Okay. So you mentioned corn. Should we be adding, what if we added a can of corn to the soup?
You absolutely can add corn.
So I have flour tortillas, which I don't think will work, but I have corn, like, how about if I put some of, like, it's, you know, like corn chips, like they're not Tostitos, but they're, you know, tortilla chips.
I wouldn't do it, Cheryl. I would crunch that up on your soup for dinner, but I wouldn't put it in what you're freezing.
Okay.
And I would
but adding corn might, just like a can of corn?
A can of corn is great. Yep.
Yeah.
And just for when you're making tortilla soup, if you don't have tortillas, the way I typically make my tortilla soup, which is a different one, but we crush a handful of chips into the bowl, put cheddar cheese on that, and then pour the tortilla soup on that.
Yum.
And then it kind of
thickens. That sounds great.
It's really good.
I have a question. Yes. Here's my strips. Whoever was asking that question, I just made them like, you know, 1 or 2 inches. And I have another tortilla soup recipe as well.
Yeah.
I think the Barefoot Contessa recipe that I make, and it uses these as well. And it really does add a flavor that's really irreplaceable. Like, and it really, I've done it with flour, and you can do it with flour. For whoever asked that, you can do it with flour. But the depth of the corn tortilla, and I don't really like corn tortillas, but in this soup, it really does taste better. But my question is, the black beans, it doesn't specify whether they should be rinsed. It just says drained. Should we rinse and drain them, or just rinse them?
You know, it depends what you bought. I mean, some black beans, canned black beans have, you know, flavor in them, purposeful. So if you like that, go ahead and use it. If you're just buying canned black beans that have some kind of preservative-y stuff, rinse them. If you're making, like I made mine in the Instant Pot, so I made my own. And so I didn't come to that. So check and see what your can of black beans says. Some of them say actually read to me what your can says if you have it there, Kelly.
Yeah, hold on one sec. They're just organic, no salt added, which I didn't mean to buy that. It doesn't even say. Like,
you know what? You're not going to go wrong. You won't go wrong by rinsing it. It doesn't.
Feeds in water.
I'm going to suggest rinsing for the reason that the soup will look clearer. When I throw them in, it kind of turns the soup gray, and it tastes great, but it's not as pretty.
Okay, that makes sense. Thank you.
So how hard would it be to make like my own tortillas? Anybody?
No idea. That goes straight to the that's much more work than I'm willing to do category.
I just Googled and, you know, easy, simple.
Wait, Cheryl, what are you asking? For the crunchy tortillas or to make your own flat? Oh,
make my own flat.
Yeah, no, I can't do that.
Let us know how it turns out.
Yeah.
Don't think I'm really going to do that. I like what Dominique said.
This recipe has pasta in it, doesn't it? Or like some kind of cornmeal.
Yeah.
That's going to do the same thing. It's going to thicken it and it's going to taste good.
Yes. Right.
I had one experience making corn tortillas, and you get this corn tortilla press. It's this little metal thing, and you put the dough ball in the middle of it and you squeeze it down. And I have to tell you, it was a lot of work, and I wouldn't recommend it.
I don't think Cheryl's going to do that. Thank you, Lynn.
No. I was curious.
The ladies at California Tortilla, they do that all day long.
Oh.
They do that all day long. That's all they do. Oh my gosh.
Oh my.
Yeah, right.
So I was curious for anybody who made the MLK soup, if anybody actually used ham hocks.
I did.
Yes, I didn't know
I
what
won't
to
be
do
cooking with them again.
So Dominique and Deb know, I spent hours trying, it got so salty, my soup, and I think it was from this ham hock because the ham close to when I tasted the ham near the bone, it was like so salty. Like at first it was inedible, and then I spent the day adding a little sugar is supposed to take away the salt. Lemon is supposed to take away the salt. I added rice, I added potatoes. At the end of the day, my husband and my son really liked it, but it was too salty for me.
I cooked it for a long time, and it did not come off the bone easily. It was just really tough. So in the end, I used a little bit of it and chopped it up pretty small, but it added flavor, but I didn't like the texture of it.
That's interesting. I've never cooked with them, and I cooked with ham instead. And so it's good to know. Thank you. I should have.
Yeah, I'm not an experienced ham.
Squeamish. I don't like my meat to look like what it is.
Yeah. I sort of threw it in and looked the other way.
Lynn, the smoked turkey was good. If you ever want to try soup again, try that.
Yeah, I was envious that you had used that.
Actually, I'm going to be doing smoked turkey soup because I tasted Deb's because we were taste testing them all, and I love that. And you just buy it and it's already smoked, and I didn't even know that existed.
Yeah.
Huh. Was it a turkey legs, or was it just?
Well, I ended up getting whatever the stores had, the Giant and the Safeway, and they had smoked wings and necks.
Oh.
So I got it, I cooked it, I threw it in there, and then I just shredded whatever meat, and it was delicious.
Yum.
Is that just like where the meats are, where the turkey or chicken is?
It's over by where the ham is, I think, I remember. Yeah. Just ask the meat guys, yeah.
Smoked meats.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so they have it all in, at our Giant, they have the case of fresh meat, and then right at the end they have the whole hams and the ham hocks and the smoked turkey, which I never looked there before because I've just, you know.
I just felt I used chicken, and I made basically the vegetarian recipe because my chicken wasn't smoked, and I thought I wanted to get some kick to it. But I felt it was so spicy that I labeled all my containers spicy, which I've never done before. I mean, they always have some spice to them, but it was just killer spicy.
Huh.
That being
wasn't spicy at all.
Well, that's because I put in the smoked paprika, and I put in some of those chilies with the adobo sauce, and it was
Oh, right.
It was over the top. And I didn't know what to do to kill the spice. That being said, my freezer is particularly empty. So if anyone wants me to deliver this soup on Monday, you have two options. One is to appear, I know you're listening, Cheryl. One is to appear at my house before 10:30 on Monday morning, or you could drop off soup anytime Sunday. If your soup isn't frozen, drop it off early so I can stick it in my freezer. And
address
frozen. Yes, Stephanie, I see that heart. And the other alternative is if you live up in Potomac, from 10:45 until 11 a.m., I will be in the Harshalom parking lot, which is 11510 Falls Road. So before 10 o'clock really on Monday or Sunday if you want me to freeze it, or what was the choice? Or Harshalom parking lot 10:45 to 11, and from there I'll take it straight to Black Rock.
Okay, Marsh, are you Old Dominion Drive?
No, I'm on Stone Trail Drive, which is behind the Carter Springs Elementary School. If you know where that is, it's between Hamilton Spring and Comanche. So it's a little short street that goes from point nothing to point nothing. So you need to look on a map. It's off of Persimmon Tree Lane, then to Comanche to Stone Trail, if you're coming from Potomac. And
what's your address in the chat?
Yeah, I'll throw it in the chat.
One thing for anybody else who's going to bring stuff up to Black Rock, so the most convenient and best times for them to get the soups would be if you brought it on Tuesday, Thursdays, or Fridays by 11 a.m. and then they will take it and put it right in the boxes that are being distributed that afternoon. After the MLK and the quinoa, their refrigerator and freezer is pretty packed at the moment, but they will be distributing everything Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays. Get it there by 11 and it'll go, like they won't have to put it in a freezer. It'll just go straight into the boxes that then go out 2 hours later.
Cheryl, how early could we drop it off on Tuesday, Thursday, Friday?
9 a.m.
9 a.m.
So between 9 and 11?
That would be best. If it's 11:30, they can deal with it, but you know, that's probably the best.
We're probably going to like 4 or 5 boxes at your house.
82.25.
What was the question? Did someone ask a question about dropping something off, a quantity? I didn't hear who it was and what was said.
We're probably going to drop like 4 or 5.
4 or 5 containers, you mean? Yeah. Okay, yeah, that's fine. I have a chest freezer, and it's very empty because all the soup that was here last week was delivered on Wednesday morning because obviously last week we cooked on Monday morning. So, yeah, that's what I'm going to get up.
Is it best to do like multiple small containers as opposed to, you know, like a 2-quart container?
Yes, unless, I mean, if you're wanting to deliver to the food assistance providers, I think that a quart is a good size. The really big ones, you know, ends up going to one family and you hope they pick out the, you know, it just cuts down on the amount of people.
I made a mistake and froze it in one big thing, so I need to.
Not a mistake, I'm sure it'll work fine, but the quart containers are, you know, whatever shape, whatever you've got.
Yeah, I'll get some of those.
Lynn?
Yes?
If you want to come over here, I bought extra containers at Costco. So I have a package 25 whatever containers for $7 if you want it.
Oh, absolutely.
Close by, so you can come up the hill and find it.
Yeah, I'll do that maybe tomorrow.
Okay, you can do it tomorrow, or what are you going to do? Put it in the refrigerator until then? What are you doing?
Yeah, I'll just leave it in the pot overnight, this soup.
Or you can come over after the call, whatever you want to do. You know how to get up here, right?
I've got your address somewhere, and I'll
put it in the chat also.
And Marge, thank you. It was incredibly convenient for me to drop it off. And last week, because I had a crazy week, so I was super grateful. Thank you.
Oh, you're quite welcome. It's not an issue. You really should have seen my trunk. When they saw my trunk, and I didn't have a mask on because I thought I was just going to load it on their little cart. And then two people came out and they brought one of these big, you know, like they have at Costco, one of these big flat, long truck things. And they loaded the soup for me. It was wonderful. It was really nice.
So how's everybody's soup doing? I just tasted mine.
Good.
Everybody good?
Simmering.
Smells really good.
Good. The one thing that I'll say that I would recommend that wasn't on the recipe is to squeeze a lime or two, since we're making such a big pot, into your soup when it's done. You're gonna add for yourselves some avocado and some maybe red onion and, you know, a couple of the chips and the cheese. So you're gonna add some things on your own, but even for the soup that you're packaging up, go ahead and put a lime or two if you have it right into the soup. It really gives it a nice kick. And I guess the cilantro, cook the cilantro in, even though you can't give it to them to sprinkle on top of their soup.
I tasted the chicken. It's really good.
Oh, good.
Do you cut the lime up into wedges? Is that what you do?
I mean, you can do it however you want, but I'm suggesting for the soup that you're going to package up to share with others, just go right ahead and, you know, juice your lime into the soup. If you want to serve it in a wedge, that's pretty, but just to get the flavor into the soup that you aren't serving tonight.
And also add cilantro as well into the soup.
I am, yeah. I am. And normally, you know, you wouldn't for what you're eating at home, but I think you're going to want some cilantro in the soup that you're packaging up. Cheryl is saying no.
Okay, so
I've got that cilantro thing that it makes things taste like soap. So
some people really don't like it.
Okay.
So guesstimate, how much salt did you add?
I did not add any salt and mine tastes perfect right now. And it's got like some zing and it's delicious. But I wanted to ask when we're ready, like what to do about that cornmeal, mix it with a little water. What do you mean? But you'll tell us, right, Deb?
Well, no, let's do it now because we have 10 minutes left. So if you aren't going to be putting the strips, I think that you're going to get a corn flavor, whether you add corn or you do this cornmeal thing that she's got on there, or you do the cornmeal in strips. But what I tried last week, because I wanted to try everything that we were going to do today, mix a little bit of cornmeal, 6 tablespoons is what they say on the website, I think. Right. With a small amount of water so that it, you know, pretty much dissolves, and then just go ahead and put it in the soup and let it cook, and it thickens it up and it gives it that corn flavor. But it's in the same way that the strips of corn tortilla are gonna do. So I think you could do either one. I don't know that both is gonna add a whole lot more.
Oh, so you don't have to do both?
No. But you know, I don't follow rules, so no. You might want to do both. I didn't think I think you get the same thing from both.
Yeah. So what? A 1/4 cup of water?
Let's see, does it say?
How much? A little water. How much? How much?
Yeah. Quarter cup is good. Maybe even 1/3 of a cup. You know.
Gotcha. I think it helps if you warm the water too.
Joyce, did you hear that? Warm water?
Yes, I've got it.
Okay.
Honestly, I might just take some of the broth out and mix the cornmeal into that.
That's a good idea.
And then dump it back in.
I think that's a great idea. I think it's very interesting that my soup still looks, I put in 6 cups of water, and I'm glad I didn't put in the 8, but I like soup to have substance rather than be too brothy. Did anyone put in the 8, and how does it look?
I put in the 8 and it seems pretty thick. Well, I just added the cornmeal and it's getting thicker, but yeah, it seems okay.
I lost count. I'm not sure if I did 6 or 8.
Oh, God. We did it and it's good.
Oh.
Yeah. So I missed the the discussion and the recommendation about using both cornmeal and tortillas.
J'essaierai dès que je peux.
So I think that they do the same thing for the soup. So whether you do the strips of the corn tortilla and let it cook for a while, or you dissolve some cornmeal into either the soup or some warm water and let that cook for a while. Either way, you're going to get a thickening with corn flavor.
Yeah, okay, all right. So, all these tortillas, so I won't use the cornmeal.
Okay, and Deb, tomorrow, the Chevy Chase Somerset, that's open again?
Yes.
Okay, thanks.
Yes. Anybody have any nice stories to share of having shared soup with anybody during the week?
Lavez-les maintenant, j'ai des trucs dans l'évier, chérie. Voilà. Tu peux remettre la table, François, si tu veux.
J'ai compris. I had my grandparents over and we made soup for them.
What kind of soup did you make, Yusuf? You remember what kind?
No.
No, okay. Did they enjoy your soup?
Yes.
Nice. Yusuf, am I allowed to tell what you did last Friday?
Yes.
So Bethesda Magazine was looking to talk to a young person who has been spending more time in the kitchen as a result of the pandemic. And they interviewed Yusuf for quite a long time, right? Yeah?
Yes.
How was it? How was it being interviewed?
Good.
What was your favorite question that they asked, or the favorite answer that you were able to give and share? What did you talk about?
I liked all of the questions.
You liked all of them? Okay. Did they tell you when you would be able to see the interview in the magazine?
No.
Okay. All right. Well, we're looking forward to it. We'll share the link when we are next cooking together after it comes out.
That's so cool, Yusuf. So proud of you.
Yusuf, did you mention KindSoup?
Huh?
Yusuf, did you tell them about making KindSoup on the
Yes.
service?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
I thought you were going to say I baked a 2-layer cake for my brother's 3rd birthday.
Wow. I didn't know you did that. Did you tell the Bethesda Magazine that you did that?
Yeah, I think I did.
That's pretty cool. Do you have a picture of that?
Yeah.
All right, maybe next Saturday, upload a picture for us so we can see the 2-layer cake you made.
Okay.
Okay. So we've been cooking the last few weeks, I think have been soups that have had a lot of meat in them. But for the first month or 6 weeks, we were cooking much more vegetarian soups. And so next week, we're going to go back to a little bit of a more vegetarian soup, and we're going to cook a delicious Thai sweet potato and carrot. Is that right, Denise? I think. So I'm excited about that.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Yeah. And then the week after that, we're going to have a delicious but vegetarian stew, chili. And Marcia Scheinman, who is usually cooks with us, but isn't on today, has shared this recipe that she says fools and delights all the meat lovers that she knows, because they are very reluctant to want to try her vegetarian chili, and afterwards they're always won over, she claims. So we'll see if it works as well at our house as it does at her house, but I'm looking forward to trying that. That should be great.
You know, you mentioned we hadn't cooked a vegetarian soup in a while, but actually 2 weeks ago we took, it was right before, it was Saturday, right before Martin Luther King, we cooked that quinoa and white bean soup. And that was really, 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 really good. And Yusuf, you were talking about sharing with your grandparents. Well, I shared with my daughter. Not quite the same, but it was intergenerational. I sent them home with a thing of soup because God knows they eat, normally what they eat is those terrible frozen chicken things that Tyson's makes. It's awful, those things in a bag. And so I was glad to give them fresh soup.
I love the quinoa one. That's possibly my favorite.
It was great. I thought that was really, really excellent. I like that. I like the Indian lentil, and I like the one with the mushrooms.
The recipe's still up there, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. All the recipes are linked at the bottom of the Kind of Soup homepage.
Okay.
Did you repeat, what was the kind of soup you said next week? That sounded very intriguing.
Thai, I think sweet potato and carrot.
Yum. Okay. And I just wanted to give a shout out. Thank you guys for organizing this. This is my first time. My Girl Scout co-leader, Priscilla Ellerby, discovered you, and we shared it with our troops. So we've got some Girl Scouts here cooking soup tonight. And I think this is kind of a first time for all of us. So thank you for opening our eyes to this and sharing with us. This has been a lot of fun.
We're so happy to have you. Where's the Girl Scout troop from? Are you all local, or where are you?
We're in Alexandria, Virginia.
Okay.
Our scouts attend Hayfield Secondary School.
Uh-huh. Terrific. So, do you have a place where you're going to share your soups, or what are you planning to do with them?
We're going to take it to Reston.
To the Embry Center.
Yes.
Great. That's fantastic. Good. And since there are a lot of new people on today, I think most of you know this, but we do ask, share your soups wherever you want and use our locations that we have listed on the website if you want. But if you could use our link to report in what you're sharing and where, that just helps us kind of be wowed by how much we're making a difference as well as having a good time. So if you need the link, it's right on the website of,
Right.
Thank you so much.
And if any of the Girl Scouts are comfortable taking a picture with their vest or their sash and their soup that they want us posting on Facebook or whatever, we would love to.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
So I've just posted in the chat if anybody wants to quickly get the link for reporting is there, and I put up next week's soup link for the recipe. Sweet potato and carrot.
Thank you. Mary, don't you think one of those Girl Scouts would want to put together this cookbook thing for us, this online cookbook? How much fun.
Maybe. I didn't, a lot of our scouts are going to be graduating this year from high school. And so they have a few other things on their plate.
They probably do. But we're so glad they're here. And when they're, once all the stress is over and they want to just come and chop vegetables, tell them to join us anytime.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
I have a question. This is kind of a repeat from last week, but I'm going to be very honest. I did not have containers. I don't typically buy plastic containers. So I went ahead and put my soups in the yogurt containers that I had. They're a quart. Okay. And I was going to drop them off tomorrow, but if you would rather I not associate with the KindSoup group because I don't have them in the right kind of container, I'd be happy to.
Lynn, we're not like that.
Okay.
Lynn, we take you as we find you, and we're glad that you're here. We were only suggesting, I think last week, that it may look a little bit less kind of thrown together in some who knows whose kitchen in a yogurt container, but go for it, Lynn. We're thrilled that you're cooking. We're thrilled that you're here, and we'd be honored and pleased for you to label that KindSoup and drop it off wherever you're dropping it off.
And Lynn, you've got company. I do the same thing. I've got Parmesan cheese and yogurt.
Oh, good. Oh, good. I'm so glad. I feel much better now. That's great. Thank you.
Have you guys ever tried using like a Ziploc bag, like a quart Ziploc bag?
Anybody?
And freezing it?
Stay away from the plastic altogether.
I haven't tried it for KindWorks, but I did it for my own soup over the holidays. We just had so much food, and I used a Ziploc, and it actually worked really well. And then when I wanted to eat some, I would peel it back and cut and carve out a piece of soup.
I find that great for my fridge. I think for BlackRock and the food deliveries, there's more chance for a spill in a Ziploc.
How about glass bottles? Are they okay? Because I have tons. I save like glass bottles, like mason jars.
I don't see why not. I think that'd be nice.
For transportation for them, it might be hard for breakage, though. I would think.
Yeah.
How does that freeze? Does that freeze okay in a glass jar? Because the liquid's going to expand, right?
If you don't have the right kind of glass, they can break. Also, you really need straight-sided for freezing.
Yeah. Oh, okay. How about mason jars? Do you think? And if you fill quite all the way before you freeze,
you have to leave room for freezing. Like you have to leave a little bit of room at the top for freezing. I know from experience.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I know too. They burst and overflow, and then you have a mess in your freezer.
Yeah, and then on the other end, when the person who receives it may put it in the microwave, and I've done this, and it was a big mess. So the jar broke, and it was a mason jar. I didn't know I had to do it on 50% power to defrost it. And I had such a mess in my microwave plus broken glass. And it was a mason jar.
Yeah.
So I thought I was safe, but I wasn't.
Okay. Well, my friend, I don't save plastic. I don't know what I'm gonna do.
All right. Well, we're gonna have to leave that to you to figure out because it is after 6 o'clock. So we are going to end now. Your soup is probably going to keep cooking for a little bit longer. If anybody wants to send us, like Dominique said, pictures to show your gorgeous faces with your gorgeous soup, that's terrific. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. I hope we see you next week. And if anybody does have trouble trying to figure out how to package their soup, send me an email and I can help you make a plan for you. Anne, I didn't mean to not take your soup problem seriously.
No,
welcome to email me. Okay. Thanks. But everybody have a great, thank you so much for joining us and have a great rest of your weekend.
Thank you so much, Deb.
You're welcome.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.